Hi everyone, I am Gopal and I'm a developer at SAP and I work on building the BTP's developer guide, which is the best practices guide for building CAP-based application following the enterprise grade capabilities or adding the best practices there. With the developers guide, we learn on what are the best practices, how do you optimize the TCO, how you can best model your applications, how you can deploy to the different runtimes which SAP offers, and how easy it is to integrate with the different plug and play capabilities which CAP offers. So, as part of today's session, I will be talking about the adding enterprise grade capabilities into your CAP application. From enterprise grade capabilities, I would say things like audit logging, change tracking, uh, observability, multi-tenancy. These are some of the capabilities which basically any enterprise applications will be looking forward to, be it attaching an attachments or uploading, let's say, some documents in your application, uh, having a history of changes, because any enterprise application, when you go productive, you need to have like who accessed the application, what data fields were changed, when it was changed, and so on. So with the help of developers guide, we have different segments written there on how you can, from the development to operations, how you can develop an enterprise grade application, how you can add different capabilities, what are the out of the box integration capabilities that CAP offers. And once you have the application ready, how you deploy it to production, also the day two operations like CI/CD, observability, and also zero downtime maintenance on how you can, let's say, upgrade your applications with new features without your customers facing any downtime. So these are some of the things which are covered as part of a developer's guide. And in today's session, we will look into what is this whole developer's guide all about. To get started with developer's guide, all you need to do is search in the Google SAP BTP developer's guide, and it takes you to a help page. So if I go to the help page, you will see the definition of what is the BTP Developers Guide. And in simple words, it's the recommendations and best practices that helps you achieve enterprise grade applications with higher, uh, lower TCOs and also very high efficiency. As part of the Developers Guide, we covered the different life cycles that you will typically follow in an application, which includes exploring the business opportunities to running and scaling the application. So as part of Explore, you will see the different responsibilities in your team and you try to come up with a solution. As part of Discover phase, you will see what is the use case, what are the business services offered on BTP that can be used in your application, so that there is no last minute surprises for you. As part of design, you will choose technology design, user experience design. For technology design, again, what are the key considerations which are there, what services, how the domain modeling should look like. Then delivering, which is setting up your project, developing the application, deploying it to one of the runtimes like either the Cloud Foundry or the Kima runtimes, then running and scaling the applications. And that's something which the developers guide covers. For the developers guide, we also have a set of Discovery Center missions. So if you go to the Discovery Center missions and search for BTP Developers Guide, you will see six missions coming up here. So we have base mission, which is building a basic CAP application, how you model a CAP application, uh, how you can create an UI, how you set up your account, then how you finally deploy application, assign roles, integrate with work zone, and so on. Then you also have missions for observability, which is analyzing logs, metrics, and traces of your application. You have developers guide mission on side-by-side extensibility, enterprise grade mission. That's something which we will cover today. So as part of enterprise grade mission, you will see how you can have change tracking set in the application. Change tracking will help you find the fields which have changed and then have a history of that in your application. Similarly, audit logging, which helps in auditing purposes. So you will see how you can, with simple plugins, start having audit logs in your application. How you can also have custom middleware for audit log to have custom audit logs. You will also see how you can upload attachments in CAP application, followed by simple CDS commands to add MTAs, and also if you want, you can have observability related things added. So without further delay, I will directly jump into a GitHub page where all the developers guides information can be seen. So the base tutorials or the beginner tutorial stuff is something which I already have, and I have cloned it from GitHub. So we also have a GitHub in SAP samples called Incidents app, which has all the tutorials completed for different types. And then what I have done is clone this project. And if I do a CDS watch, my application will start running. So as part of application, let me quickly run you through what are the different components which are there. So in their database, I have a schema defined, which has an entity incidents with different fields like title, urgency, conversation. Then I have customers and addresses followed by the different statuses like urgency and status code and different fields defined for it in my model. So throughout the application, I will be using this data model. I have some sample data also filled here in the application. I have service defined here in the services.js. I have some custom logic also, like checking the agency code or updating the code with, let's say, agency title with the different urgency levels and so on. Similarly, checking if some incident is already closed, don't allow any modification. So such code is there, and then I also have exposed the service with processor service, and there is another admin service. The processor service is annotated with requires support role, which is if a person has support role, then only they can access. So for the demo purposes, we are using the CAPS predefined user concepts. So here I have also defined users like Alice and Bob and the different roles which these users have. So now that the CAP server is running, let me just open it. And let's say I go to web app and click on go, I will see the list of incidents. And let's say I can create an incident saying the customer reports an issue saying my mobile screen is broken and it's reported by one of the customer. And the urgency is, let's say, uh, high. And I create it. And if I go back, you can see the list of incidents have this mobile screen broken also are getting added. Now I will jump into adding the first capability in the application, which is adding change tracking. So if I go to the tutorials, I will open the data privacy part. And the first part is adding change tracking. So if I go here, so implementing change tracking. So CAP has a plugin called CapJS Change Tracking, and you can search for this plugin over the internet, and you will see how you can use their plugins. And it's also written very well in the Kapire site. So what I will do is now copy the command which is there in the tutorial to enable the change tracking. So let's say npm add change tracking. Let me stop the server and I run this command. So what it will do is it will quickly enable the change tracking related configurations, and it will enable add the change tracking dependency coming from CapJS in my project. Now the plugin is there. All I need to do is annotate my current service and say that for the following fields, let's say I want to have change logs or change being logged to the application. So here, if you see, it's mentioned that you uh, add the following annotations into services.cds. Now, what this annotation does is you have a change log for the title, you have change log for status, and if the customer name is changed also, you need to add a change log. Similarly, if there is a change in conversation, you also, like if the message is changing, you add a change log. So I will copy this whole annotation, go to my application, services.cds file, and let me paste it here. So if you see now, the annotations for change logs are here in this particular segment. I do a CDS watch, and now server is up and running. I will go to the web app again. And let's say now the capability was to have change logs. So let's change the incident. So let's pick this incident. Uh, Already you can see there is a facet here for the change history getting added, and currently there's no change history. I can click on edit. I will say that no current on sunny day. I can maybe make it rainy day. Similarly, let me change the customer who have reported status is now in progress and urgency is little, let's say, low. So I will make it low. And I change the conversation also, saying that maybe that wire is broken. I click on save. So now I made a few changes, and if you've seen the change history section here below, you have different fields. So the first field is object type, change in the conversation, what changed, the message, what was the old value. It's so you have like this was the original value, which is changed now to the new value, which is wire is broken. And who changed it? Alice. At what time? The detail is also there. Similarly, I had changed the status from new to in progress. The customer was changed and also the title was changed. So this one command enabled me with the capability to add change tracking in the application. Now I have the change tracking added. So what I will do is go to the next section, which is adding the audit logs. So let's say I go to the configure audit logs part, and here, if I go to the implementation, we talk about writing or annotation called personal data. So what here we are doing is in the annotations, we are saying that these fields are personal data, and then if there is a read to, let's say, personal data, then I will want to log those in the audit logs. So first thing first, I need to create a annotation file here just to segregate the concerns. So it says create a data privacy.cds file and then fill the following values. So I will go to the application in the SRV. I will create the file and paste the annotations quickly there. So my data privacy or audit logging related annotations are here, and I'm annotating customers with personal data, let's say, and their addresses as personal data. Now, my annotations are there. What I will do is it will need the next thing, which is the plugin for audit logging. So I copy the command, paste it here, and it is running. Package is added, and if I go to the package JSON, you will see that audit logging is there. Now I will do a CDS watch and again go back to my server. And let's do one thing. Let's try to access customers because that was something which had audit log added. So if you see, I got a 403 message. And if I go to try to access this customers from processor 403, because I had logged in with Alice role, so Alice didn't had role to access the other entity, customers entity. So now I am seeing the customers data. Now if I go to back to the application and let's say go to the console, you can see the different set of errors which are coming. So the first one, I tried to access with the wrong user. So you can see that there is a forbidden message. User Alice is lacking the required roles and so on. The error came. Then you are connecting to the local audit logs, which is audit log to console. In production cases, the audit logs will go and uh, sit into the BTP's audit logging service. So now here, if you see, there is a sensitive data read, a sensitive data because we have marked it as personal. And you can see what is the ID that was being read. It's customer read. Then what attributes are getting read is so you have the credit card number, who you try to access and when. So these informations are coming in the audit log. So all the information which are read information for the customers which just happened gets added into my console. Now I can also have the comments where I want to have custom audit logs in the application. So in the developer's guide, the next segment, if you go, you will see how you can add the custom audit logs. And also, let's say, yeah, here you have to create a server.js file, and then you are writing custom code which is connecting to the audit log, and then you are writing events like 403 or 401 where you want to filter audit logs on the middleware itself. You have certain code written here. So what I will do is copy this, create a server.js file at the root of my project, and paste it here. So here, if you see, there is a custom message which is attempted to access a restricted resource, the name of the resource with insufficient authority. If I go to the application again, and again, I will try to access customers and go to the console. This custom audit log that I have written, uh, here you can see there is a security event and the custom message, which you can see here what action that just happened. So attempted to access a restricted resource. What was the resource? So I have custom defined that the resource will be, let's say, the path to my O data with insufficient authority, and who tried to access. So let's say Alice in this case. So this is my custom audit log, which gets added to the application. So this running, there are other things which CAP also again offers you to test it locally. And for the local testing, there is a command coming from CAP, which we have also documented. So you have something called CDS add HTTP, which creates HTTP files, which can help you trigger requests locally. So if I run this command and let's say, just want to do it for admin service, I will go to my server again, CDS add HTTP admin service. So if you see, it created a folder called tests, and here HTTP admin service.http. Here you can see there are different requests like getting customers, creating customers, and so on. So let's just do a CDS watch again and do a get on the customers. So you can see I get the list of customers, but again, also audit log for sensitive data read. So this basically can also help me test locally with the HTTP file, and I don't really have to worry creating a payload or something here. I can change the username password here as well, and let's say try to do a get and see what happens. Maybe my custom logs will come. So if I do this and do a get customers, you can see that user A attempted to access a restricted resource because I have changed the uh, properties, and yeah, so I've changed the user, and the user defined here, which was Carol, is not there anymore, and my custom audit log started to come into picture. So now that the audit logs are there, the next capability we will move to will be adding attachments. So attachments are another critical things which normally an application will need. So here, if you go to the tutorials, you will see attachment service. And if I go to the add attachment section, here again, we have a small command called CDS add attachments. So this will enable my whole application to have attachment related capabilities. So going back to the application, let me run the command. And again, I can show you the package .json. So while it's installing the required libraries for the project, so I will go to the next steps. And here, what we are doing is we are extending the incidents with attachments capability. So I have to just model my application again. So I will create a attachments.cds file and extend the current schema with this new annotations. So I will go to the DB, and here I will create the files attachments.cds, which will hold the attachments related information. And I added it. So you can see I'm extending incidents, which will be a composition of incident attachments. I do a CDS watch. And if you see, all I had done was running a CDS add attachments command, which added the attachments related library in my application. Now, once the library is there, I just added or extended the current schema to have a composition of attachments there. And I did a CDS watch. Now, if I go back to the application will have the different capabilities. So let's say I create a new incident. I will say, let's say anything issue with Attachments in browser, there's a typo. Let's leave it like it is. And if you see here, you have attachments tab here. And if I click on upload, I can choose, let's say, this picture itself and say that it's this is the issue. And I click on create. The attachments gets added. I also have the change history, which is you can see that issue attachments in browser and so on, like whatever is there, changing and all. And if I click on this image, it will show me the content which was uploaded. And if you see, there is also a scanning ongoing. Locally, it just runs the scan, but when it is in production, it will enable the capabilities to also malware scan if there is any attachments which are getting uploaded. So now you have three capabilities which I just shown, adding change tracking, adding audit logging, adding attachments. So let's also add another capability for security. So there is another command called CDS add AMS, which will add AMS related stuff to the application. And if I do a CDS build production, the policies will get generated for my application. So I think there is a. Okay. So now I have other different capabilities added. Let's do one thing. I will now make the application production ready. So now CAP gives me another set of capabilities, and that's another thing which we have defined in the developer's guide in each of these tutorials, how you deploy to Cloud Foundry the schema runtime. So if I go here, you will see I'm adding for attachments. I will need the object store, particular plan for it. I also need the malware scanning service, and then I will bind it to the application. Now, this you can do it manually, but because CAP offers it, so let's do this magic with CAP, CDS add MTA. And with one command, the MTA gets added to the application. Now I can quickly just run you through the different configurations here. So I had run the CDS add AMS, which adds the authorization related configuration in the project. And if I go below, let's say I search for audit logs. So you can see here that I have audit logging service added in the application. I will also have the object store, which was for the attachments getting added. For authorization, I have the authorization management service getting added here in the application. And for the authorization, you will need different policies and so on. So you will have the different policy deployer modules also, which will be here. MS policy deployers getting added to the project. So it does all this thing with a simple command of CDS add MTA. So my application is ready to be deployed, and then I can just push it to Cloud Foundry or the Schema runtime. And if you see my SRV, which is my backend service, has required dependencies like attachments, authorization, audit logs, and so on getting added. Now, once you have all these capabilities, you can deploy the application to the Cloud Foundry or the Kima runtime. And then the next capability, which you can also look into, is called the zero downtime maintenance. Now, zero downtime maintenance is added here. And let's say if I go to as ZDM, it talks about how you can add the different high availability related configurations in your project following the blue-green deployment strategy or rolling updates, which is offered in the Kima runtime. And the different strategies, for example, for app router, you can use Redis to store the cache or the session management, because when you have the new version of app router, you want the sessions not to be expired or killed. So you will use Redis there, and then we have options or configurations on how you do it. So for let's quickly go to the code ZDM, and here you can see that we have blue-green deployment strategy defined, and then you have different routes that you need to define in the application. And then you will see how the different flags can be used if you want to do a testing on your new deployed version of application, if you start or want to skip it. And then how you can handle the app router related new version updates without customers losing their sessions. So these things are covered as part of this add ZDM related tutorials as well in the developer's guide. Now, To conclude the whole flow, there are even many more tutorials for the developer's guide. You can also learn how you can build a freestyle UFI-based application. You can have flexible programming model-based application, how you can integrate notifications, how you can build multi-tenant applications. And if you go to the multi-tenancy part, you have the central interpoint approach, you have the local interpoint, and it talks basically how the different models for the multi-tenancy can look like. You also have the capability to have observability added to the application, which I had shown last year in the Devtoberfest. So this is what the developers guide has to offer, and we are always updating new capabilities into the developers guide, and it is there for every persona, be it a developer, be it a architect or a DevOps person. Each life cycle, you will have some or the other tutorials added in the developers guide. So please follow the resources. You can go to the Discovery Center or the Developers Guide help page and keep, let's say, subscribe to it so that you can see the new things which are added in the Developers Guide and the new missions which are getting added. So that's all from my side, and thanks.